So here, Randy Rosario, she's going to try to defend herself, and she's going to try to flip the. She's going to try to change the narrative to say that we are the basically saying that we are predator enablers. Here she is, right here.
So many men in my DMs that I don't know that's angry about that last post. So let's break it down. At the end of the day, if you are a 23-year-old man and you are going to pick up high school girls that are 16 years old and however years old, you are a predator. That 16-year-old is not the person to blame in that scenario. Y'all really don't understand math. Y'all really that caught up in y'all egos. Y'all really that caught up in the fact that somebody didn't want you in high school. That's crazy to me because in reality, what y'all doing is saying, oh, you ain't want me in high school. So, but you were ignoring the girl that did want you. You were actually trying to be outside your league in high school, and now you upset. Now you're saying they're trying to be outside that league, which could be true. It ain't my story. I couldn't care less. I just think y'all crazy as hell for victim blaming. Y'all really think a teenager is responsible for dealing with an adult, but the adult not responsible for that? That is sad and nasty work. I hope y'all don't have daughters. It's so many men in my.
Let's replay. Let's watch the video one more time. The what she's trying to say. Let's watch this video one more time. Right here. This one right here. Because I don't think she even remembers what she says. Well, actually, let me take that back. She does know what she says. She's just mad that she's getting cooked. So now she's trying to, flip the narrative and saying that we're predator enablers. But let's listen to what she said again here.
They were in high school. When the nerd came up to the girl in high school, she was like, no, I want you. And then once she became a baby mama, he was a CEO, executive, and all that. And she's like, hey, you remember me? He said, no, I want you. I be feeling like, respectfully, y'all is the grown-up versions of the niggas that got hurt in high school while we was out fucking with the drug dealers. Let me tell you something. We were victims then making horrible-ass decisions with grown-ass niggas preying on us. Y'all gotta let that shit go. They were in high school. When the nerd came up.
So, ma'am, the reason why you're getting the negative feedback is because you're asking these dudes to overlook all of that and still date you. It's not a matter of whether you were a victim or not. It's a lot of those guys that actually think you were victims, but they're still not trying to pick up the pieces. That's the point. Why do they have to overlook all of that? And because of because those were the choices that you made as 15, 16 years old, whether you felt like you're a victim, whether the guy feels like you're a victim or not. Because honestly, if you actually polled a lot of the guys, they will say that you guys were victims. Now, me, I don't think you were victims. That's just me. So she might be talking to somebody like me, but I'll defend my stance anytime because I got way too many stories, and too many comparisons that I can make to shut down the argument. But most guys actually do think you were victims, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that they have to overlook that and still date you when they have leverage later on in life. That's what the men and women were cooking you over. Now she's trying to flip it and say that we're predator enablers. So let's repeat what she said. Let's dissect what she said again. And since we saw the recap of the video that she was basically reacting to herself, let's dissect this video one more time.
DMs that I don't know that's angry about that last post. So let's break it down. At the end of the day, if you are a 23-year-old man and you are going to pick up high school girls that are 16 years old and however years old, you are a predator.
No. The scenario you described, you said y'all were dating the drug dealers. Stop making it like, oh, if a 23-year-old man picks up a 16-year-old. No. Don't switch that. Don't do that. You brought up that y'all were the one, you including yourself, you were the one that were dating the drug dealers, the dudes that were 25, in their 20s, 30s, 40s. Even I saw somebody in my comments mention that he knew a girl that was messing with a dude that was in his 40s. He was a drug dealer. Now, this is what you were doing. The average 23-year-old is not looking to pick up a 16-year-old. Don't. We're not defending his actions, even though, like, especially in my case, I don't look at the 16-year-old as a victim. But even then, in those scenarios, I don't think the drug dealers are in the right to do what they're doing. I don't think the dudes that are looking for the 16-year-old girls, I don't think they're in the right. You know what I mean? Those do, because believe it or not, I've seen many cases where the girls will be 13 and they're talking about, oh, I already have a dude that's in their 30s, 28 years old, and you'd be like, damn, But anyways, that's a whole other story. I wish I gotta show those DMs. I gotta show those DMs. I gotta find those DMs when that girl admitted to me that she knew what she wanted by the time she hit a certain age. She better not have deleted it. I should have screenshotted those messages because that was gold. Oh my god! Because she was supposed. I had messaged a girl via social media and I said, can you please tell your story on my channel? You don't have to show your face, but I want you to repeat what you said to me in the DMs so people can stop acting like I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm just making this stuff up. But like I said, this is what the girls they do this, not us. This is what they're choosing. Don't put that on the average 23-year-old dude. And we're not defending the drug dealers. We're saying, look, you're telling us to date you after you did all that? After now the guy has the leverage in life, he's worked on himself. Now he has to pick up the leftovers. No, he does not. No, he does not have to get over quote unquote being rejected by a girl that made terrible decisions. No, he doesn't have to get over that because now he could use that later on in life. And when she tries to, cozy her way back in, he can remember that, she doesn't even really like me like that. So now she's in a position in life where she doesn't really like you. She just needs help. So it's a good thing that he remembers what happens in the past. So he understands her true intentions. So yeah. But anyways, let's keep this playing.
That 16-year-old is not the person to blame in that scenario.
Well, I'll say this. In my opinion, yes, that 16-year-old girl, that 15-year-old girl, that 14-year-old girl, yes, they are to blame. But that's just me. Most men would actually disagree with me. But she's still talking at y'all. Like it's because she's completely twisting what everybody's criticizing her for. But let's take that since they always want to. You can't blame a 16-year-old because they use that so you don't question it. But I'll do it. I'm brave enough to do it. At 16, guys, what were you guys thinking about when you were 16? What were you guys doing at 16? As the average guy, oh man, just trying to get one girl. One. Now you ask the average 16-year-old girl, what were you doing at 16? And your mind will be blown. And the thing is, women will tell you what it really is if you listen. It's just they'll just be shocked that you remembered. So women or girls at that age, they will always brag about how they're more mature than you and how they're better than you and I can't date the guys at my school and blah blah blah. Girls like that, I mean, they kind of get what they're they're looking for. I'm because I always be wondering. I'm like, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me you couldn't find an athlete? At least, people might be mad at the jocks for getting the girls, but at least it's somebody in their age range and it's somebody at the school. You know what I mean? It makes sense. But really, the people that always get first dibs on a lot of these girls are criminals, and not just the criminals. It's always the dudes that be in ISS, always the dudes that's in trouble, the drug dealer at the school, or the drug dealer outside the school, right? And if it's not, and a lot of the times a lot of the times it's somebody that is way older than them. A lot of the times it's they tattoo artist, they drug dealer, boyfriend, whatever, and it's always something very unconventional. Something very unconventional when they could just stick to the dudes at their school in their grade range, especially they're at a public school. They have dudes to choose from, but in their minds, they think they're better than them. they see that, especially once she gets like the first dude to trick on them. Once they find out, and it'll be like something as small as like $30 or $40, and they'll think they're winning in life. They think they're finessing the dude because he's giving her like little trinkets here and there. When she finds out like that's the way to go, she's gonna look at the rest of the dudes in her vicinity at her school like, ugh. So if you're grown enough to make decisions like that, you're kind of grown enough to know what you're doing, because I don't see 16-year-old boys get an excuse for being young, dumb, and naive when they commit a crime at that age. I've seen young 13-year-old boys get life sentences, and they're not fully developed in the brain yet, but we don't care. You do the crime, you do the time. we will say, yo, there's 13-year-old. If you ask the average dude, do you think a 13-year-old boy could be a criminal? Yes. You think a 13-year-old boy could murder somebody in cold blood? Yes. You can literally ask you can ask the average person, do you think a 13-year-old boy could be a sex offender? And everybody would say yes. But for some reason, he said, is it possible for a 16-year-old girl to be a hoe and be sleeping with older men intentionally? What are you trying to say, Chris? I mean, you think it's impossible? It's just completely impossible. It's just out of the realm of possibility, huh? Okay. Whatever.
Y'all really don't understand math? Y'all really that caught up in y'all egos? Y'all really that caught up in the fact that somebody didn't want you in high school? That's crazy to me, because in reality, what y'all doing is.
But that's not the point. You told them that they should still date them, those girls, later on in life. Like, it's one thing to say forgive them because they didn't know what they was doing, but then on top of that, you're telling them that they have to overlook that and they should still be they should still date them, and because the only reason why they're not dating them is because they're bitter and hurt from high school. What kind of message is that? Like, of course you're gonna get pushback from that because that makes no sense. You literally take zero accountability and all the responsibility on the man that had nothing to do with your bad decisions in high school. How do you think people are going to take that? People, man or woman, looking at what you said,
saying, "Oh, you ain't want me in high school, so but you were ignoring the girl that did want you. You were actually trying to be outside your league in high school, and now you upset. Now you're."
You did not say that in that first video. Now she's trying to add some stuff. You were ignoring girls that were in your league. No. Here we go.
Saying they're trying to be outside that league, which could be true. It ain't my story. I couldn't care less. I just think y'all crazy as hell for victim blaming. Y'all really think a teenager
victim blaming
is responsible for dealing with an adult, but the adult not responsible for that?
No, that's not. like when we say, like, especially me, when we say, yeah, the 16-year-old girl, she is responsible for her dating decisions. We're not saying that those older drug dealer boyfriends are in the right. We're not saying that they're not predators. I'm just saying that the woman is not when she was 16, she was not innocent. And by the way, and I always bring this point up because I always bring this point up because it's always funny to me. Say I'm a counselor, right? Say I'm a young counselor doing this, and I find out one of the students, one of these 15-year-old, 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds, is dating a 28-year-old drug dealer. Say I'm heavily concerned with this girl, 14 or 15-year-old girl dating the drug dealer. So much so that I call the police. I do everything in my power to make sure he doesn't see her, she doesn't see him. You know what the 16 or 15-year-old girl, you know what they're going to call me and her friends? They're going to call me jealous. They're going to call me a hater for this is the problem. Say if I go your route, I'm the heavily concerned individual with this. She's going to call me a hater. She's going to call me jealous, even later on in life. Even if she gets older, she's going to say I ruined her life. What could have been. She's always going to think she will never forgive me for that. So that's me as if I was an adult. Now imagine if the boys that we're quote unquote crushing over and we find out she's quote unquote being manipulated by a predator and we call the police on these dudes. They're going to be calling us snitches, jealous that you can't get us. This is what's going to happen to boys if we even do anything about that. It's a complete lose-lose. All we can do is just sit back and just be like, because what can we do? We can't do anything about it. And that's if we cared. So all we can do is just sit back because this is what they decide to do. Y'all acting like we be calling these drug dealers and we tell them to quote unquote prey on these girls. I mean, at 16, you know what you're doing, especially when it comes to dating, who you're consenting with, who you're deciding to have sexual relationships with. I mean, if you're already old enough or you already sentient enough to make decisions like having sex already by that age, I mean that's a responsibility that you got to handle. man or woman. I done seen these stories where didn't you remember that story where the female teacher, it was like an older female teacher, she seduces a young male student that was like 13, whatever. She gets pregnant by him, and he owes her child support, and the kid is 14. I'm like, so he's got to pay child support at like, or like he's like, but once he turns 18, he already is owing all this thing of child support off rip. But a 16-year-old girl don't know what she's doing if a quote unquote 28-year-old or a 30-year-old drug dealer is quote unquote preying on him. All of a sudden they don't know how to say no. Well, come on, man. Come on.
That is sad and nasty work. I hope y'all don't have daughters. It's so.
Oh man, here we go. I hope you don't have daughters, man. If my daughter is stupid enough, I'm talking about in a school where you got the athletes to choose from all types of sports, basketball players, football players, soccer players, track stars, all these people to choose from. You got the nerds to choose from. You got the regular dudes to choose from. You got the comic people. You got the chess club dudes to choose from. You got the mathematicians to choose. You got all these dudes to choose from. Yet you choosing criminals outside. I'm talking about dudes like criminals. But the thing is, what happens is those older dudes compared to the boys at their school, the older dudes, they have a car, they have a place to stay, they have a little bit of money, and that money is almost like that little bit of money is like gold to them. They could have all they need is like a motorcycle. Let the older dude have a motorcycle, and she's going, he has a motorcycle. Unfortunately, young women are impressed by these, these things, and even a 28-year-old bum that's not doing that well still has more than the average like high school boy in high school. You know what I mean? Like now, especially say like if it's like a girl that's not getting that much attention from the dudes that she likes in school, meaning she's not getting attention from the chads at her high school, and then these guys come around. These older dudes come around with a little bit of money from their UPS jobs, right? Or their jobs where they're moving furniture, right? They come around with a little money. It's almost like gold to these broads, and they fall for it. I mean, if you stupid, like I said, if you have a daughter and she's stupid enough to fall for that, I mean, that's on her. You're so already supposed to be raising a type of individual where you're like, it's not even a matter of what can you propose to me. It's like, ew, stay away from me. You're 28. But many girls, especially nowadays, are on demon time. They're on demon time. So, because I already know plenty of girls that if some old, if like say at a certain age, but at a certain age, is some random dude, 26-year-old, they found out the guy was 26 or 25 years old or 28-year-old trying to hit on them, they'll be like, ew, get away from me. But that's not what be happening. That's just not what be happening. Now, to blame this on the average man, I I'm lost for words. Lost words. Let me see. So somebody said here, well, 16 years old is legal in some states, just to throw that out there. But I feel like both are to blame. I was in college at 16 dealing with 30-year-old women, and I knew exactly what I was doing. And I won't call them all predators because that would mean they preyed on them. When I was in high school, I seen some that didn't prey on them, but I also seen some that did. Okay. But this is where I'm trying to focus on. He said, it's the y'all got to let that ish go part. That's the thing everybody's focusing on. Talking about you got to let that go. No, they don't. Especially if man works himself to a certain degree and he has the leverage. Why would he take those leftovers? And I think that's what's getting a lot of these, a lot of these girls, or a lot of these women panicking, because a lot of women's dating/mating strategy is this: do whatever the hell they want to do from ages 14 through 28, and once they hit that age, or they hit that point where the drug dealers stop calling them They stop getting discounts at the bars for just looking young. Once they hit that point where they can't get free stuff for just existing anymore, that's when they're going to settle down and find a sucker to basically clean up the mess. That's basically their retirement plan. That's most women's plan today. I kid you not. That's their plan. And now guys are very privy to this information now. And the reason why girls are panicking is because guys are just not willing to play the stepdaddy role anymore. They're not willing to clean up the mess. And that's really why you'll hear a Randi Rossario or woman of her ilk. They're like, where did all the good men go? Where did all the good men go? Where did they all go? And you're just like, yeah. I wonder where they went. Mrs. Rosario, Mrs. messing with drug dealers in high school, where you could have used that time to find a dude that actually cared about you. This is why dudes even advise other women, use your younger years to find somebody that cares about you so you don't have to deal with this kind of mess later on. But, what do we know?